Mary had a little lamb.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From Radio Beacon to Radio Beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
It's Friday the 13th, you bastards.
CNN can now project Joe Biden has won the state of Georgia, flipping the state red or flipping the red state blue, I should say. Donald Trump has won the state of North Carolina. A major, major development in this historic election. I want to go to David Chalian. David, take us through this.
Yeah, the final two states we were able to project, Brianna, because the counties in those states are certifying their county vote totals and sending them into the state. We know in Georgia that there's a hand recount underway, but Joe Biden is the winner of Georgia, 14,152 votes ahead of Donald Trump. 49.5% to 49.2%. No Democrat has won Georgia since 1992. This is a huge victory for the Democrats, a state they've long eyed, like a 10-year-long project to flip this red state blue. And Joe Biden did it with explosive growth in the Atlanta suburban area for the Democratic coalition. Big turnout among African Americans, among women. This is a big prize for the Democrats. And then you noted in North Carolina, Donald Trump is going to hang on to North Carolina. 73,602 votes ahead of Joe Biden. Pretty substantial lead, 50% to 48.6%. Again, we were seeing a majority of the counties reporting in and certifying their vote totals. There is not enough outstanding vote for Joe Biden to come close to overtaking Donald Trump. Therefore, Donald Trump is going to hang on to North Carolina and add its 15 electoral votes to his electoral total. That brings us to Joe Biden at 306 electoral votes. Donald Trump at 232 electoral votes. That is a substantial electoral college victory for Joe Biden. In fact, so substantial, it's precisely the kind of victory that Donald Trump labeled a landslide for himself 4 years ago, because that's how many electoral votes he had, 306. And that is what Joe Biden has. And now you've seen the entire map. Color in red and blue. This is your new map of American politics and will set the table for the 2024 presidential election.
Oh, my God, they're already talking about 2024. Woohoo, it's over. It's over. It's over. Little Lover Boy, for those of you who grew up in the 80s and remember the red leather pants and the crossed fingers. Remember that? Get lucky, everybody. Get lucky. We did get lucky. So it's Friday the 13th. It's Friday the 13th, and we have been living a political version of the Friday the 13th movies. It is just, I just hope there's no sequel. Don't you hope there's no sequel? Because the next sequel, they will have the scary guy wearing an orange mask. You know that. You know that that's true. I always get confused in the Friday the 13th. You know, does the killer wear a white Halloween mask, a hockey mask, or does he paint his face orange? Do you know what I'm saying? Because I think that's the next boogeyman is going to be a big, giant, you know, like pregnant-looking, turtley thing with an orange face, you know, like a combi thing. So anyway, we're done. We're done with the Trump, well, we're not done with the Trump presidency, but we're done with the election. We're literally done. The Trump presidency, it continues, just like the Friday the 13th movies. Cheaply made, but terrifying. Lots of people die in those movies. And yesterday was no exception. Yesterday we had 160,000 new coronavirus cases, and that was just a week after we broke the 100,000 case per day measurement. So it took us, what, less than a week to almost double the new cases per day. You got places where the positivity rate is 40%, meaning 1 in every 4 people taking a test and they're coming back positive. You got places where it's 50%. You got places 46%. This is just, it's unbelievable. And Dr. Fauci is telling us we have to double down, and we have to do it now before the virus double downs on us. And they're talking about 500,000 people being dead by the time Trump skedaddles, by the time he leaves. And I just want people to understand, your president, your current president, no longer your current president quit on you. He quit, is what he did. He's a quitter. Not only is he a loser, but he's a quitter. He hasn't said anything in 8 days. Not anything. And in the last 8 days, new cases have gone over 150,000 a day. A day. We have 67,000 people in a hospital right now. 67,000 people, the nurses, the doctors, they are worn out. Some of them are infected themselves, and they're being told they have to go to work anyway. Anyway. Some nurses are considering a 2-day strike because nothing has improved for them. No working conditions have improved. In fact, if anything, they're being told, oh, you have COVID? Too bad. Go to work. They don't know what to do with themselves. It is the saddest, sickest, poorest, weakest place America has been in at least my lifetime, which is a long time now. Long freaking time. Just sad. Unbelievable. But here's how the election finished up. Arizona, as you know, I called Arizona yesterday because 2 other news organizations had called Arizona besides for AP and besides for Fox News. So yesterday I said Arizona is gone, and it's gone to Joe Biden, and it looks like the margin of difference was about 11,000 votes, which is almost identical to the margin of victory Trump had in Wisconsin, 11,000 votes. In Michigan, Donald Trump won by a measly 10,000 votes, okay, just so you know. Georgia just certified 14,152 votes for Joe Biden. That made him the winner. And North Carolina, Trump won by 73,000 votes. So that is the map. It is filled in. This is over. And now they're telling us Donald Trump is going to say something. I don't know what he's going to say. Say something at 4 o'clock today. Who hopes it's a concession speech? Who? Yeah, we all do, because he is literally purging this government. He is burning the whole thing down to the ground so that when Joe Biden comes in and has to clean up after all of this mess, you have people that are in such dire straits financially. You have small businesses that are closing. You have 10 million less jobs than we had when he came in. 10 million less jobs. The economy is much, much weaker. You have sicker people in this country. COVID is spreading unchecked, out of control. And you have lunatic, fringy people, free my face. Free my face. I'm not wearing a mask. It's spreading like wildfire. We're just ahead of a Thanksgiving holiday where people plan to travel, which is scaring me. But you also have 130 Secret Service members. Can you believe this? 130 Secret Service officers have contracted COVID or have to quarantine after all of Donald Trump's super spreader campaign events. And for those of you who don't think they're connected, it's all in the Midwest, okay? It's everywhere Trump went. Everywhere he had one of these super spreader events is where COVID is freaking off the hook, out of control. So the Secret Service agents now have to quarantine because the hot zone for COVID is Donald Trump. David Bossie has it. Corey Lewandowski has it. Some other people you never even heard of in his circle have it. This is just, and now 130 Secret Service agents. Yes, they'll take a bullet for the president. They're not supposed to die because of the president. The president isn't supposed to kill them. I really feel bad for them. You have a president who needlessly put their lives at risk. And the rest of us too. I mean, it's so sad. It's so sick. It's just, at least the Secret Service was exposed in the line of duty, as unnecessary as it was. We didn't volunteer for this. But even if you did volunteer to be a Secret Service agent, did you ever expect that you would be unsafe from the president? That he would be the killer? I mean, it's like I said, it's like a weird freaking movie. And it's about to end, and let's just pray no sequels. None.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Do we need a national mandate or not?
Yes. Well, we do. If we don't get one, then I would hope that the governors and the mayors do it locally if it's not done nationally.
But Dr. Fauci,
but we need to get.
Why would it not be done, Fauci?
Yes.
Are you still? Does the president's? Are you still in the president's ear or no? And if so, who? If not, who is?
Well, I haven't spoken to the president in quite a while about the situation with regard to the outbreak. The situation, it is very urgent, and that's the reason why I have been urgently saying every single day that we have got to do things that have not been done uniformly and consistently throughout the country. The numbers that you put up are stunning. This is going to get worse because we're going more into a colder season as we get through the fall and into the winter. With the holiday season going, we've got to do something different. We can't just let this happen. We're going to have many more hospitalizations, and that will inevitably lead to more deaths.
How many more people are we going to watch die? We're almost to 2,000 people a day passing away from COVID alone in a hospital. We're almost to 2,000 people a day. The president today, I'm a little birdie is telling me that the president is going to brag today about his response to COVID. I don't know. He's going to brag today about warp speed. Now, keep in mind that Fauci has just told us that the president does not speak to him any longer, okay? He hasn't spoken to the president in a really long time. Mike Pence, who is the head of the coronavirus task force, he's also AWOL. They have quit on us, and they have decided that they're just going to leave us sick and poor and less safe. And we know that because Donald Trump will not give presidential daily briefings to Joe Biden. We know that because Donald Trump is blocking the National Institutes of Health, NIH, the CDC, from confabbing with the incoming Biden Corona Task Force and a 52-person sort of a landing team separate and apart from Biden's coronavirus task force that is going to coordinate all the responses between all the government agencies. And the president currently of the United States of America refuses to allow the incoming president the information that the National Institutes of Health and the Centers for Disease Control have. He's blocking Health and Human Services as well from confabbing with the incoming Biden administration.
Until the Trump administration actually signs off on this election, which is that ascertainment we've been talking about, the Biden team can't have any interaction with agencies across the government. Meaning, when we're talking about the coronavirus pandemic, they cannot talk to HHS or the CDC or the FDA. And by not having those conversations, it means they're not getting access to critical data that would help them be prepared on day one. And I spoke to several medical experts who say it's not just about being prepared. A big concern that they have is about this vaccine distribution plan. We know that the Biden administration will take over the vaccine distribution from the Trump administration. Experts in this field say they need to be working in tandem constantly in order to make sure this doesn't affect millions or hundreds of millions of people's lives. And right now, the Biden team has no access to any of that. Now, it is important to note that they are working around these roadblocks put in place by the Trump administration. We know that Biden has named a coronavirus task force. They're back channeling with governors. They're talking to the medical community. They are sitting down with everyone they can. But again, still no access to that critical data.
What the hell is wrong with Donald Trump? The man is such a sore loser. He is such a baby man. He is such a toddler. He is such a small thinker. He has no care for this country. He has no care for Americans. He has no care for citizens. He has no care for anybody in this country. And he is such a sore loser that he is literally blocking an incoming administration in the middle of setting world records. We in the United States are setting world records for coronavirus deaths, hospitalizations, and new cases, day after day after day. And this man is blocking the incoming administration from speaking to his doctors, from speaking to the Centers for Disease Control, from speaking to the National Institutes of Health, from speaking to Health and Human Services. Now, of course, the Biden administration, this is why it's important when we say things like ready on day one. This is what it refers to. It refers to Joe Biden being able to understand where to get information without stepping on Donald Trump's transition or toes or whatever it is, or his block. Do you know what I'm saying? This is so bizarre. Now he's flirting with firing the head of the CIA, Gina Haspel, over some QAnon conspiracy theory that she's sitting on documents, I swear to God, that she's sitting on documents that would reveal the names of the Democrats who drink babies' blood and are running a pedophile sex ring. I swear to God. I swear to God. That's what QAnon is all about. And real humans, a lot of them, are part of this cult. It's freaky. It's dangerous. And they're all going to D.C. tomorrow. It's just bizarro world. I hate doing this because, you don't want to give it any breath. But you have to understand what these freaks think. Now, I know my name is Randi Rhodes, but I ain't the one on the crazy train. This is Stuart Rhodes. No relation, thank God. Talking to Alex Jones about going to D.C. tomorrow.
So what we're doing is we have men already stationed outside D.C. as a nuclear option. In case they attempt to remove the president illegally, we will step in and stop it. And we're going to be there to also help secure the coming rally this Saturday and your caravan coming in. So I've got good men on the ground already. We've did a lead recon there last week, and we're sorting out what we're going to be staging, and we'll be there. We'll be inside D.C. We'll also be on the outside of D.C. armed, prepared to go in if the president calls us out.
Stuart, can you not feel history happening right now? I mean, it's happening right now.
It is, and we all need to realize that we're Americans. We're born in this country at this time for this purpose. We need to let go of the fear,
I don't have fear. I have a concern about what is the right thing to do. My God, there's so many options here.
Well, I know. I'm preaching to the choir on that, right? So you and I are like that. But there's so many Americans out there that they've been timid in the past and afraid. You got to let go of your fears. Look, just as Americans from across the country stormed up to Bundy Ranch to stand up for a rancher's family, you need to go to Washington, D.C. with the same conviction.
I was about to say, this is a commie Chi-Com takeover with an admitted Chinese agent. You better get your ass to D.C., folks, this Saturday.
Yeah, that's what
if you don't, there'll be no more republic. But we're not going to let that happen. It's not even an if. It's either President Trump is encouraged and bolstered and strengthened to do what he must do, or we wind up in a bloody fight. We all know that. The fight's coming.
Now, I'm all for free speech, but that's inciting violence. Period. End of story. That is Crazy Train Rhodes. Not me, Stuart Rhodes. There's more. He tells Alex Jones why, all the viewers have to, arm themselves and go to D.C., and it's because of a pedophile sex ring that's being suppressed.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844.
561-270-3844. Okay, everybody, here's some crazy pants, crap.
Why would Biden announce the economy will be more shut down? Why are they just want to break them? I mean, they give us no quarter.
Well, they're arrogant, and so that's okay. Use that to wake up your fellow Americans. Here, look, the secrets that the deep state holds on people, all the pedophile stings, all those sex prostitution stings, all of this is how they control everybody. That is the swamp water the swamp creatures swim in, is the dirty secrets.
Oh, it's like when they planted child porn on my office. We never opened it. They said, oh, it's time to meet with us and roll over. I said, war. I attacked them. They burned to hell. What? Exactly. Right. It's all made up crap. Stuart Rhodes, more comments from you. Ann Owen Schroyer on the road, headed to Tallahassee.
What is wrong with these people? I mean, honestly, it's pedophile rings and sex rings and prostitution rings. Why don't you just look at your own president first? Look at your president who said that he likes to inspect 15-year-olds naked at the Miss Teen USA pageant. Look at the president who said that if Ivanka wasn't his daughter, he would sleep with her. Look at his friends, Jeffrey Epstein. Look at his other friend, Ghislaine Maxwell. Look at all the photographs. What are they talking about? These people are backcrap crazy, but they're dangerous. You know, this guy, these are former law enforcement officers. That's who this is the Oath Keepers. And I've been talking to them for years. They never make any sense. I don't know what they took an oath to, but it wasn't our Constitution. It's like they took an oath to their gun. You know, it's like, I love my gun. This is my rifle. This is my gun. You figure out which one they're in love with. But it's so sick. It's so sad. And you've got a congressman from Virginia. He just lost his election. Why? He's a Republican from Virginia, and he just lost his election, Denver Riggleman, because he doesn't play footsie with these people, okay? And he was interviewed about what is going on with these freaking QAnon conspiracy, pedophile, sex ring things.
I think when you see what happened in 2016 and now in 2020, people keep, the conspiracy theories, these just sort of bizarre alternate realities that people are living in is starting to contribute to really, I think, this, dissolution of reason. And whether it's QAnon or whether it's Sharpie Gate, which is ludicrous, I'm almost out of pithy things to say, buddy. The last thing I said, I'm like, are these people who think the Lord of the Rings is a documentary? I mean, I don't get it, right? So you have Sharpie Gate. You have the watermarks, you have ballot burning, and now you have this bizarre, ridiculous conspiracy theory. And a lot of this is QAnon umbrella stuff, as you know. But this, from Steve Bannon, and I think it was, who was it, General, retired 3-star, that NSA is manipulating ballots, electronic voting. That really is really I think the island of the misfit toys at that point. You have crossed the Rubicon, you've jumped on the crazy train, and you're headed into the cliffs that, guard the flat earth at that time, brother.
Oh, my God. Okay, so they think Lord of the Flies is a documentary, and we're down the rabbit hole with these people. It's really freaky. It's very unnerving. It's very mind-blowing how they found their way on social media to pretend that this is like a real thing. This QAnon, Democrats drink the blood of children. They smell like sulfur. They're satanic, and we're running sex rings and pedophile. I honestly, I mean, and this Chi-Com thing, right, where Biden is a Chi-Com. He's a self-admitted Chi-Com agent. Steve Bannon, who was arrested for fraud for a charity called We Build the Wall, where he stole $1 million from small donors who are in this group, was arrested on a Chinese billionaire's yacht. That's really fact-checkable. That's like really something you could know. But somehow Biden is the one that plays footsie with the Chinese communists. Ivanka Trump got, I can't even tell you how many multiples of 10, maybe hundreds, of copyright, Chinese copyright trademarks while her father was president and she was a senior advisor in the White House. What is wrong with you people? It's like we're through the looking glass, okay? It's really amazing. And Riggleman says, it's getting scary. It's really getting scary. He just lost his congressional seat in this last election.
Here's what scares me. If I do a poll in my district and say, really good poll, it's an expensive one, and 50%, this is real, by the way, 50% of people who support President Trump believe that QAnon is real, or they believe this. They believe there is a cabal in the Democratic Party that drinks blood, right? Or that. It's
so a real poll found 50% of people in your district?
No, this is countrywide. You go into Numbers Crunchers. There's some other polls there, about 50%, right, of the people they polled. Now, it could be 20, right? It could be 30. They validate me, but I'm right. I wouldn't tell you that if I didn't know that poll. Validate that. But even if it's 20%, even if it's 30%, how does somebody like me who knows the dangers of that stay in a party? Even though I'm a free market guy, I think I'm a constitutional Republican, there is no way that I'm going to stay in a party where a baseline theory that starts with an anti-Semitic tropes or a base is something that's being spread by people who are running for office or people that vote that way. I just can't do it. And I think you're going to find other people that way too. And by the way, I haven't made a whole lot of friends in the QAnon community. I don't know if that might surprise you. But when I say stuff like QAnon has the same number of letters as moron, it makes people angry. But what I'm trying to do is I am trying to bring attention to it. And by the way, I've had friends and family who've been very angry with me and people I did not expect. And I've actually probably lost some people over this. And I think that's the other thing you're going to see. This is a cult. And it's something that is spreading. And anybody who tries to diminish it, I think there's a couple of reasons they might. Number one, they're ignorant of it. Number two, they are just pandering without believing it. Or number three, they believe it. And if it's any of those three, probably should disqualify you for public office.
I agree. This thing is out of control. And I know that those of us who live in the real world here, those of us who read newspapers, those of us who actually follow politics, show up at our town halls, people who actually campaign or people who pay attention at least or vote and, research their ballot, whatever. This is so bizarre, right? But when you're in a bubble of reality, which is really where we are, we're in the real world, you sort of have a tough time understanding that there are millions of people in this country, multiple millions of people in this country who listen to crap like Alex Jones. Fox News is their Bible. They never read a newspaper. They watch One America News Network. They are lied to constantly. They are fed cult-like behavior. They've been asked to die for the dear leader, and they've said yes. Like I said, the Secret Service, it was part of their professional duty. These people, no. They're in a death cult, and they need to be deprogrammed. Seriously. And the only thing that'll do it is truth.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
What are these false claims of widespread election fraud doing to our country right now?
They appear to be motivated in part because the president doesn't like to lose and never admits loss. I'm more troubled by the fact that other Republican officials who clearly know better are going along with this, are humoring him in this fashion. It is one more step in delegitimizing not just the incoming Biden administration, but democracy generally. And that's a dangerous path.
He says it so calmly because he's calm, because he's gifted with a brain that can analyze the lay of the land, right? But it's very dangerous. It's bizarrely dangerous. Not only do we have 70 million Americans that voted for this same man that did nothing, absolutely nothing in the face of a global pandemic, did absolutely nothing for a second stimulus package, that did absolutely nothing on infrastructure, that did absolutely nothing on a health plan that he promised, from day one, right? Nothing. We built 12 miles of new barrier on the southern border, and claimed victory on his promise that he was going to build a big, beautiful wall in Mexico, was going to pay for it. He stole the money from soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, and funneled it, probably, if the Supreme Court had a crack at it, illegally, from what Congress intended the money be spent on to his pet project, the wall. And then his former campaign manager, Steve Bannon, gets arrested on a Chinese billionaire's yacht for defrauding the American people by saying that they were going to build the wall and to give him money, and he stole $1 million. And people still voted for this guy. We're in deep trouble. We really are. Now, Obama's got a new book out, and I swear to God, I of course pre-ordered it. There's excerpts from it in the Atlantic magazine, and there's also some audio of him reading the preface. It's called A Promised Land, and it does question whether or not equality in the United States is a myth or whether it's something that is achievable, but how bizarre and how terrible a position we've been left in. And he wrote it before the election even happened. But here's what he says in the preface of the book.
Beyond the struggle to put words on a page, what I didn't fully anticipate was the way events would unfold during the 3.5 years after that last flight on Air Force One. As I sit here, the country remains in the grips of a global pandemic and the accompanying economic crisis, with more than 178,000 Americans dead, businesses shuttered, and millions of people out of work. Across the nation, people from all walks of life have poured into the streets to protest the deaths of unarmed black men and women at the hands of the police. Perhaps most troubling of all, our democracy seems to be teetering on the brink of crisis. A crisis rooted in a fundamental contest between two opposing visions of what America is and what it should be. A crisis that has left the body politic divided, angry, and mistrustful, and has allowed for an ongoing breach of institutional norms, procedural safeguards, and the adherence to basic facts that both Republicans and Democrats once took for granted.
I mean, he gets it. Obviously, he gets it. And I'm telling you right now that the birtherism that made it impossible for Obama to govern, the obstructionism by the Republican Party to make him a one-term president, which is what Mitch McConnell's stated goal was the day that Obama got elected, right? All of the obstruction on everything from judges to, fixing things that were needing to be fixed in the American Recovery Act, which was too small by half. And that's why growth was so slow. We did get good job creation, but not as fast as we could have. If the Republicans gave a damn about the situation that Americans found themselves in after the crash of 2008 that the Republicans enabled. Okay? And so they're doing it again, is basically the whole message here. The Republicans are determined to delegitimize Joe Biden before he even becomes the 46th president of the United States. They did it to Obama, and they're going to do it again. Now, they can't play the race card as evil and as heavily as they did against Obama, but they can do it with Kamala, and they intend to. They intend to obstruct everything, and this is the problem. The problem is that right at this moment, the Republicans are guaranteed 50 seats in the Senate. Okay, the Democrats have 48. We have 2 Senate races, as you know. And part of the reason the Republicans are very late to the game to congratulate Joe Biden is because they want Trump's voters. And they don't want to say anything to Trump's voters when Trump's voters believe that the election was stolen, that Democrats are pedophiles, that Democrats drink blood, that Democrats are concealing the fact that Joe Biden is a Chinese communist agent, when it's plainly in front of their face that Ivanka did business with China while she was a senior advisor to the president, and that Bannon was caught committing fraud on a Chinese billionaire's yacht. I mean, it's so bizarre. But the reason they allow it, the reason why some of them even promote it, the reason why they won't congratulate Joe Biden is because they don't want to lose the Trump voters by telling them the hard truth. So what does that mean? It means the Republican Party has zero statesmen and they're full of cowards. That whole party is a cowardly party. That whole party, there's not one single solitary, decent, courageous American willing to risk his reelection to tell the Americans who believe in this ridiculous nonsense that this was a free and fair election, that it was probably the best run election in all 50 states that we've ever seen in the middle of a pandemic, that there is no intelligence about Democrats drinking the blood of children. Oh my God, I can't even believe I have to say this, but you do. You do. And that America voted to move forward. That America literally showed up in almost record numbers. You know, we haven't seen numbers like this since 1908, all right? And Americans showed up in record numbers because we were sick of this, because we wanted progress. And now we're sitting here with, guess what? A trip down memory lane. Divided government. Mitch McConnell could be the majority leader yet again and be the impediment to progress, along with his friends Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and the whole slew of lunatic fringy guys who let Donald Trump call their wives ugly, let Donald Trump say their dad killed JFK, let Donald Trump call them little Marco, let Donald Trump say that you're ugly, like Rand Paul. He could do 20 minutes on Rand Paul's face, insinuate that they have small penises, and they're fine with it as long as they don't lose Trump's voters, even though they're going to lose Trump. And let me tell you something. Here's what's got to happen. Donald Trump has to be indicted for many crimes. Obstruction of justice. There's 10 different obstruction charges in the Mueller report, okay? There's also perjury in the Mueller report. There's also tax fraud and insurance fraud. There's also bank fraud. There may be money laundering. I don't know. I'm not aware of what the Attorney General of New York or the district attorney has on him. But trust me, these Republicans, they are going to start rooting, truly, privately, for Donald Trump to be arrested, to end the madness. They're going to come and, I mean, I don't know that they'll stand up and say anything until after he's adjudicated, right? One way or the other. But they are going to secretly wish that he would die in jail and just go away so that they can have a shot at explaining this or showing it. They won't explain it and show it to the Trump supporters, right? In the meantime, we have to take the Senate, and there are several ways to do it. That's where we left off yesterday. I researched it.
Mary had a little lamb. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe it. Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
All right, so here's what we're doing. We're waiting for Donald Trump. See that picture there? That's the Rose Garden. It's live on my screen. He's late. He's the only president that was ever late for Veterans Day because we celebrate Veterans Day at a specific time, 11 o'clock in the morning, for a specific reason. He was late for that. So anyway, everybody's waiting for him to speak publicly for the first time since he's become a loser. But in the meantime, I just wanted to tell you that yesterday when we left off, we had a really interesting phone call from a guy who was suggesting something that I said, you know, I appreciate what you're saying. I just don't know where we could pull from. He was suggesting that in states where there is a Democratic governor, but a Republican senator or two, that we don't just make the play for Georgia for Warnock and Ossoff, and we're going to Warnock or Ossoff for those 2 Senate seats in Georgia, which was called today, as you know, for Joe Biden by 14,000 votes, which means we could possibly win both Senate races in Georgia that are held on the same day, January 5th. But that's not the only route. This caller was explaining that he had heard this idea on Tom Hartman's show from a caller to Tom. And that goes something like this. Joe Biden expressed that he wants his cabinet to look like America. Well, America has 72 million Republicans that voted in this last election in it. 77 million of us, but 72 million Republicans. And so if Joe Biden is signaling that he's going to pick some Republican or some Republicans for various positions in his administration to make it look like America, why not go shopping for that Republican in states where there's a Democratic governor who would then be able to nominate a Democrat to take that Republican's Senate seat? Well, I loved the idea, but I wasn't sure in the last seconds of the show yesterday when I went to his call, what states could we look at? What states could we possibly pull from? Well, I got so much email from people. Thank you so much. You know, I answered you. If you wrote me, I wrote you back. So thank you. I really appreciate some of the research that you guys did. The best suggestion, there's lots of suggestions, as it turns out. There are lots of states that are in this position with Democratic governors and at least a Republican senator. I'll go through the list, but my favorite one was Maine. My favorite one was Maine. Why? Because as shocking as it is that Susan Collins, a Republican, is going back to serve in the Senate after this Kavanaugh BS and after the disappointing performance of standing up to Donald Trump that she has displayed to her voters. Apparently, she knows her state really well and was able to secure a victory for herself and will go back to the Senate as a Republican. Turns out, Maine's got themselves a Democratic governor. Her name's Janet T. Mills. Not exactly a name that trips off the tongue. Learn it. I learned it last night from somebody who sent it to me. Janet Mills is a Democratic governor in Maine, and Susan Collins is a Republican senator who could easily be given some sort of cabinet position. Now, I went through all the cabinet positions, and I don't know which one you think she would be great for, but, you know, we do have, I don't think Secretary of State. I don't think Treasury, definitely not DOJ, Justice, not Defense. We do have Interior, Agriculture, Labor, Health and Human Services. We have Housing and Urban Development. We have Transportation. Transportation is where I wrote her name in. I don't know why. I just felt like that. So I wrote her name in. We have Energy, nah. Education, no, want a teacher. Veterans Affairs, Homeland Security, Environmental Protection Agency, Management and Budget, Trade Rep, Ambassador to the United Nations. I wrote her name in there too. Council of Economic Advisors, Small Business Administration, you know, lots of cabinet positions to fill. Just saying, that's one state. Here are the other states. And you'll tell me if I missed one. Because if you live in one and I missed it, I would love to know, okay? So here are the states with Democratic governors that have at least a Republican senator who will be in the next Senate. So Montana, right? Montana has Governor, hey. Could you get out and close the door? Thank you. So Montana has Steve Bullock as governor. Now, he tried to run for Senate, but he lost to Steve Daines, right, who had one term. So Steve Daines is a Republican. But Governor Steve Bullock is a Democrat, and he's still the governor. Pennsylvania, they have a Democratic governor, Tom Wolf. And we have Pat Toomey, who is a Republican senator from the state of Pennsylvania. Maybe Pat Toomey is interested in one of these jobs at Commerce or Labor or Housing. I don't know. You know, this is why Joe Biden is such a great pick for president. Joe Biden knows Pat Toomey. Joe Biden knows what he's interested in. Joe Biden would know the kind of thing that might make Pat Toomey not want to run for re-election, but would rather have a nice, secure 8-year job doing something in the administration. I don't know what Pat Toomey's really interested in. Maybe somebody from Pennsylvania is very deeply familiar with Pat Toomey's interests. But I know Joe Biden would know. So there's one. Of course, I just mentioned Maine. Joe Biden would know what Susan Collins is interested in. I know her husband's a lobbyist, so I don't know. I don't know what his area is. Probably taxes or something like that, because that's mostly what they do. Kentucky has a Democratic governor. They got Andy Beshear over there in Kentucky. But you do have Mitch McConnell. Now, maybe if Mitch can see that he'd be a minority leader because he's picked off a couple of senators, or lost Georgia, maybe Mitch would like to, be Treasury or some other thing. I don't know. And then you got idiot boy Rand Paul. I don't know. He's a doctor who doesn't believe in using a mask. Okay. Put him in charge of Health and Human Services. No, I'm kidding. Let's skip over Kentucky. That's not a great place to mine. Also, Louisiana, not a great place to mine. Why? Because you've got a Democratic governor in Louisiana. I didn't realize all these people, I know their names. I just couldn't connect it yesterday. But doing this was such a good exercise. You should try it. Anyway, in Louisiana, we have Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards. But we've got John Kennedy, the lunatic, fringy senator from Louisiana. But maybe he could be tempted with something. I don't know. I'm not sure. We had Bill Cassidy. I don't know. I don't know. See, this is why Biden would be important, because Biden would know what they're interested in. Kansas has a Democratic governor. Laura Kelly, Democratic governor. And there, I think, is ripe for the picking. Because Kansas is an agricultural state. We got the Department of Agriculture. We got the Department of Interior. And you have Senator Pat Roberts and Senator Jerry Moran. And both of them are Republicans. But you have Laura Kelly, the Democratic governor. Now, North Carolina is a non-starter, and I brought it up yesterday because you do have Democratic Governor Pat Cooper, whose name I could not recall till I looked it up. But they have a strange rule with regard to who the governor can pick to replace a senator. And that rule states that the governor has to pick somebody of the same party as the leaving, exiting, or transferring senator. So North Carolina is a non-starter. Also, Louisiana and Kentucky are non-starters. So we have several states, though, that are in play.
All things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
All right, we're still waiting for, the Orange Menace to step up to the microphone. It's just unbelievable. But, all right, John in California, hi. Happy Friday the 13th. Or not. Fred in Connecticut.
Yes.
May I help you?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, the Republicans, have they changed their ways since the Civil War?
What are you talking about now?
The Republicans haven't did nothing for the country since the Civil War.
What are you talking about now?
Republicans is not good.
Carol in California.
Hi, this is Carol in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
This is the happiest day of my life, this Friday the 13th. After 36 years of being with my partner, we got married today.
Oh!
And we have no one to share it with we met some lovely people here that married us, and the reason we had to wait 36 years is because I know we got marriage equality like 5 years ago, but the thing that prevented us was the Supreme Court decision about our victory in June to secure our employment, and since we're of retirement ages, we were still fearful of the employment situation. So we are finally able to get married. 36 years, Randy. I'm so happy.
That's lovely.
I can't believe I lived this long.
Where are you?
I can't believe I lived this long to see this.
Where are you registered?
I'm registered in Milwaukee County.
No, I mean for wedding gifts.
Oh, no. Wait. My family, they're in favor of LGBTQ rights as long as it doesn't interfere with religious freedom. So we didn't have anybody at our wedding. We met lovely people from the MCC church, a lovely pastor who married us. 2 men we had never met before in our life stood up for us. It was just the 5 of us today in a church, and we got married.
Well, I'm very excited for you. I'm very happy for you, but I really think that you ought to go to the Knot and register for wedding gifts, and that way we can send you things.
Oh, no, that's okay. Yes. My gift is my partner, and that's all I've ever wanted.
Stop it. No, who doesn't want a blender? Who doesn't want...
After 36 years, I think I have one in stock.
Oh, you have no idea what they do now. You really don't. And
I probably don't, seriously. We go to the Goodwills.
No, you need a Ninja Foodie. Come on. Go register and then drop me a line at info@Randi Rhodes, and we'll spread the word that you need wedding gifts.
Oh, you're so generous. No. I'm just so happy. But I wanted to let you know, too, the laws never stopped our love. We have loved each other all these times, no matter what the law is. But we are thrilled that we can make it legal. We can get our financial house in order, etc. The 1,200 rights that heterosexuals take for granted, we finally have.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, congratulations to you. What's your partner's name?
She's still a little shy about coming out. We'll call her Mary because we're still a little watching her. Still a little,
Mary.
Watching her backs a little bit. Still, she didn't want to come out on the radio, but so we'll just say that. But I'll tell you in the email. I'm so excited.
Okay. All right. Well, tell your partner there's nothing to be afraid of. We all support you falling in love and getting married, because that is what people do.
36 years. I told her we can go to a more blue area. We don't have to be afraid anymore. Let's be ourselves and just go move forward and enjoy more freedom. We're retired now and looking forward to a life.
That's great. That's great. Thanks.
So happy Friday the 13th.
Yeah, you too. It turns out that it's a lucky day because they called the election. You got married. This is beautiful.
Yes, and we love you, Randy. You do so much for our community. The entire nation, everybody. And we love you so much.
I love you more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Carol.
Thank you.
Yep. Oh, that's sweet. That's really good. Bill in California.
Yeah, I'm calling about the Electoral College.
All right.
My reading of things is those guys can vote however they want. So all Trump has to do is get in there and influence enough of them, and he's president again for 4 years. The people don't elect the president. The Electoral College elects the president. That is really, actually, honestly, the way it works.
Yeah, but they can't vote for whoever they want. Okay, the Supreme Court.
Why not?
Because the Supreme Court said so.
I read that ruling, and it does not say can't. It says can. It doesn't say will not or must not. It says they can.
It says the state can fine them. The state can replace them. It says a whole lot of things about faithless electors. The only state that isn't mentioned, by the way, is Georgia. That's an interesting one.
Well, I heard Mitch McConnell and Pompeo prominently talk about electors as though they knew something. It was just this little comment.
Yeah,
wait for the electors. Wait for the electors. They know something, and I hope I'm wrong, and I hope you're right. I pray that I'm wrong.
You are wrong. But
thank you.
Okay.
I feel better.
All right, good. Yeah. Michael in the Bronx.
Hey, Sister Randi.
Hey, brother.
What's up?
You
know something? Oh, and you too. You always rock it. Let me say that I don't know about you, but I've had up to here with Trump's lies and the false claims of the election was rigged. As of an hour ago, I heard that Nevada went.
I'm sorry, I have to cut you short. He's on.
Many countries with their ventilators and all of the problems they were having, and I'd like to congratulate everyone involved in this effort. It's been an incredible effort. As a result of Operation Warp Speed, Pfizer announced on Monday that its China virus vaccine is more than 90% effective. This far exceeds any and all expectations. Nobody thought they'd get to that level. And we have others coming which we think will be at equal level, maybe more if that's possible. In July, my administration reached an agreement with Pfizer to provide $1.95 billion to support the mass manufacturing and distribution of 100 million doses, with the option to purchase a total of 600 million doses shortly thereafter. Our investment will make it possible for the vaccine to be provided by Pfizer free of charge. Pfizer said it wasn't part of Warp Speed, but that turned out to be a unfortunate misrepresentation.
Oh,
they
really?
Are part. That's why we gave them the $1.95 billion, and it was an unfortunate mistake that they made when they said that.
Really?
We will work to secure an emergency use authorization, which should be coming down extremely soon.
All right.
And my administration will then coordinate.
Yeah, you don't have an administration. So the bird in my ear was right. It was all about Warp Speed. He's saying Pfizer, who has said that they were not part of Operation Warp Speed, they lied. And I don't know. So now we have to research that. Because he's speaking. You see what I mean? It's like fact-checking again. Damn it.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, he already lied. It's every time this pie hole opens, lies come out of it. Okay, so here's the deal with the Pfizer. You go, oh, they lied. They were part of Operation Warp Speed, Pfizer was. No. Pfizer was not part of Operation Warp Speed. The government told Pfizer that if they come up with a vaccine, because Pfizer did not take any money from the U.S. government in Operation Warp Speed, but the government told all the manufacturers of vaccines that if they come up with one, our government will buy $1.95 billion worth of those vaccines in order to give them to people here for free. So I can't stay. We have to listen because I just want to hear him concede if he does. I doubt it.
Helping the rest of the world with ventilators.
Oh, ventilators. Oh, God,
We're
really?
producing them thousands of ventilators a month. The federal government has 22,000 beds immediately available for states and jurisdictions that need additional capacity. But we think that it's going to start going down, possibly very quickly. We'll see what happens, but with the vaccine, you'll see numbers going down within a matter of months, and they'll go down very rapidly. As we continue to combat the virus, our economy is rebounding far beyond any expectations. I see the stock market's up almost 400 points today again, and it's ready to break the all-time record. Our jobs records are incredible. The job numbers are incredible. In the last 6 months, we've created over 13 million jobs and slashed the unemployment rate.
You've added them back
by more than half.
Oh, my God.
Last quarter, we witnessed the fastest economic growth ever recorded in the history of our country, 33.1%. It's a number that is...
Okay, all right. I just, no. I mean, I can't. I can't. We did not create any new jobs, okay? These were jobs that people went back to when states reopened. Didn't create any. We're 10 million jobs less today than when he took office. 10 million jobs. the 33, I told you again, the 33 point whatever, GDP, I explained it to you a million times, okay? We lost 33% of GDP. We lost. So I explained it to you with the $100 bill. If you had a $100 bill and you lost 33% of it, you would have $67 left. If that $67 then grew by 33%, you would still be in the hole for what you had when you had the $100. Okay? That is the real math. This is sick. He just cannot stop. He can't stop. The man went AWOL. He quit on America because of his fragile ego. He knows he lost this election and he wanted to come out and he's dying to say something to somebody. And so he's standing there and he's lying about this fabulous economy, which sucks. Okay? 8 million more people are in poverty today than were a year ago. 10 million less jobs than when he came to be the president of the United States. GDP did not grow by 33%. We lost 33% because of COVID. That put us at $67 on our $100. And if your $67 then grows by 33%, you still are in the hole. Pfizer was not part of Operation Warp Speed. The government said they wanted Pfizer to be, and Pfizer said, no, we don't. They're a German company. They don't want to take any money from the U.S. government. So the deal was that whoever comes up with a vaccine, the U.S. government would buy $1.95 million worth of vaccine. He's lying. I'm so sick of it. And he's lying while cases have gone from 100,000 a day in just one short week where he was AWOL to 160,000 new cases a day. A day. We lost almost 2,000 people yesterday. Almost 2,000 people died. And he's giving himself a pat on the back. Holy crap. Leroy in Maryland.
Hey, how you doing, Randy?
Hey.
Love you to death. I've been listening to you for a long time, but I had to call in today because I heard, this thing with the senators going into the cabinet, and I don't understand what the incentive would be for them to do that, because the GOP is going to spend about $1 billion in Georgia to retain the majority. So why would the Republicans give up the majority? And then, secondly, most Republicans are followers. So wouldn't Susan Collins and the other guys be shunned from the party? I'm just a little, confused. So maybe you can help me out.
So, it's up to the individual, right? I mean, if Susan Collins feels like, it's a better deal for her to be in the administration than it is to be in the Senate, why wouldn't she go? The Republican Party left her, really. I mean, she was forced to vote for a guy who she knew was an abuser of women and a drunk, right? I mean, we all know Kavanaugh is a drunk. He likes beer, whatever, and he lied under oath during his own confirmation hearing. I mean, if she's had enough, why wouldn't she want to go to the administration? Why wouldn't she? And there's talk now that Angus King, who is the independent senator from Maine, that Biden is considering him for an intelligence position, maybe even the DNI position. Angus King is an independent, right? So he may caucus with the Democrats, but they don't get do they get counted with us or not? I don't know. That's a good question.
But I know that they vote. But what I'm saying is that with the fact that the Republican Party, and especially Susan Collins, they bend down to Trump because they don't want to be shunned and they want to be a part of it. So I don't understand what would her incentive be, and has she given any indication that she's tied to the Republican Party? Is that something I missed?
So, like I said, if the job is a good job in the administration and she feels like going, why wouldn't she go? I mean, honestly. Pat Toomey, from Pennsylvania, if he feels like it's a great job in the administration, why wouldn't he go? Same thing with, Pat Roberts or Jerry Moran from Kansas. Maybe they want to be in agriculture. Maybe they like being Secretary of Agriculture. Maybe they feel like they could do more as Secretary of Ag than they can as, one of 100.
Well, I can understand that because maybe you're right, but they have shown no character, no empathy, no compassion for the average man. And if they went into Joe Biden's cabinet, wouldn't there be conflict with the way that they think and the way that Joe Biden thinks?
But Joe Biden said that he's willing to work with Republicans. Joe Biden is the guy who always crosses the aisle. Joe Biden is the one who said he's going to make his cabinet look like America. Well, America includes, as we just learned, 70 million Trump voters.
Okay, I got that, but upstairs there are other Republicans. What I'm a little bit confused is Susan Collins just went through a big fight, spent a whole lot of money, and
Not
the
her
other
money.
ones too.
It's not her money. Seriously, dude, it's not her money. She just goes in fundraisers, and that's a tough slog too. I've been to a million fundraisers. They have them breakfast, lunch, dinner. I don't think you get that it's not just dialing for dollars, and that you have to leave the Senate in order to do it. It's a raising money is a full-time job. Maybe she's done with it. Maybe she doesn't want to do it anymore. Other Republican senators might feel the same. I don't know. We'll have to see.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Oh, my God. Friday the 13th went really, 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 really fast. The election is over. Donald Trump still hasn't conceded. He's in the Rose Garden right now with General Gustav Perna, who is the CEO of Operation Warp Speed. He's a uniformed military dude. He lied so early in his appearance today that I just can't pay any attention to him, and he's not going to concede. That is not going to happen. I remember somebody called I don't know how many weeks ago and said, is Donald Trump going to be the first president that refuses to concede? And I said yes, and that seems to be the case. It just does. Donald Trump is blocking the incoming Biden administration from having any contact with the National Institutes of Health, with HHS, with Center for Disease Control, CDC. This is just so sick. This is so sick and twisted. And all he wanted to do today was open his pie hole and take credit for Operation Warp Speed, which is about vaccine development. And the one company that announced, and we don't know if how exuberant to be about Pfizer's news, because Pfizer's news is a press release. It's not peer-reviewed. However, it does seem to be good news, let's put it that way, that the vaccine that Pfizer seems to have has 90% efficacy, meaning it's better than the flu vaccine that we currently have. The flu vaccine that we currently have gives you 50% protection from the flu. But they say that theirs targets the protein that's in the coronavirus, cell, the spiky cell, and that it actually creates antibodies that defeats it, and it works 90% of the time. Well, that's great news. But they are not part of Donald Trump's Operation Warp Speed, and they were very clear that they were not. And then he tried to take credit for the stock market again, which is weird because the news that's making its way around the world is that Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States of America come January 20th, 2021. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And then he bragged about how great this economy is when it really blows. So I just can't. I can't listen to it anymore. Mike in Milwaukee.
Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Hey.
Hey, long-time listener. I've called you before. But
yeah, I thought so.
I know I'm going to get pushback on this from you, but I'm calling a pushback because your caller kind of hit me to something, and while I was waiting, I quick looked it up, and Obama did have Republicans in his cabinet. I remember LaHood because of the high-speed rail that they wanted to build here in Wisconsin, and Walker wanted to take that money for highway, and LaHood told him, no, you couldn't have that money for that purpose. So I know that this has happened before with Obama, but I cannot see any of these Republicans that are in Congress right now leaving the party to go and join Joe Biden. I know what you're saying. In a different time that might make sense, but right now I just cannot see it. These folks, just think of how they're treating. Just think of how they're treating Biden right now. That they won't congratulate this man when they know the writing is on the wall. and Mitch McConnell has got his boot on their throats. And if
so
they're
that's what I'm
to,
saying. Maybe they're tired of it. Maybe they want to be free. Maybe they want to get rid of the yoke. Maybe they want to.
So then, what you're saying, your position is, once they go with Biden, then let's say if he doesn't get elected again the next 4 years, or let's say if he does, after his 8 years, then they're done with politics. They're out. They're getting away from the game after that because they can't come back and be Republicans. Not with these nut jobs.
But nobody goes like from Secretary of Agriculture like Tom Vilsack. Nobody goes back and runs for election. What they do is they go to a lobby shop. That's what they do. They become a lobbyist on the issue that they were, the secretary of. That's kind of the way the revolving door works. They don't go run for the Senate again.
All right. I just can't see it. I mean, I saw how the way these folks are acting and how they're acting right now, and I'm like, it just for some reason I can't connect those two dots in my head right now. I mean, the way that they're acting. I mean, even the guy from Oklahoma, he came out and said, okay, if they don't give Biden his briefings today, then he's going to step forward. And then all of a sudden he corrected himself in that. Now, now he's
James
changed his course, and I'm like, what is with these folks? There's not a brave soul in that bunch. So who's going to step out there knowing that they will, I guess, if they don't have to run again, obviously they could probably do it. But I was going to say, knowing that they can meet the wrath of those 72 million.
They won't run again. They won't run again.
I just don't see it.
They won't run again.
Okay.
They won't. The only person that I'm aware of that has, goes from an administrative job to this, to run again for something. They run for president. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Nikki Haley, right? She was governor, then she went to work for the Trump administration, then she was forced to resign, right? Because, and now she'll probably run in 2024. That's my best bet.
All right, I'll be watching.
But the Secretary of Agriculture or the Secretary of Education, Labor, they don't run for the Senate. They don't, like Robert Reich doesn't run for the Senate. You know what I mean? Crazy lady, what's her face for our education secretary now, Betsy DeVos. I mean, she's nutty enough to try something, but no.
Okay.
Because she hasn't accomplished anything. I mean, maybe there are some people that have had it with Mitch McConnell. Maybe there are some Republicans, that are ready to, not run again. Toomey's never going to run again. He's done, right? So maybe he wants a nice cabinet job. Maybe that's what he's into right now. Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania, that would be just beautiful, right? Like I said, Senator Pat Roberts from Kansas. He's an older gentleman. Maybe he would like to be Secretary of Agriculture. Maybe he's, suited for that. I think Jerry Moran would be interested in something with defense. I don't know. It's just, like I said, Joe Biden would know what they're interested in. Mike in Pennsylvania.
Oh, yes, Randy. Pat Toomey announced a couple of weeks ago that he was not going to run for re-election.
That's right.
And the other item I would like to address is this possible vaccine is not going to be effective worldwide because of the conditions that it has to be transferred in.
Oh, well, they created their own boxes. Pfizer actually created, these cold boxes because they were aware of the shipping requirements. I think it's like 96 degrees below zero, some crazy number of freezing, right? So
it's not going to work in Africa.
Well, they built their own boxes to distribute these vaccines in
for 6 billion people.
But as far as distribution, yes, that's a logistical nightmare. I mean, it's just
it'll never happen.
I think it will happen, but it won't happen. Like people think, oh well, we are an emergency use authorization, and now all of a sudden it's at your pharmacy. It doesn't work like that. And you're talking, the vaccine and the vaccine itself is a double dose. It's a two-step thing. So you have to get 2 doses. So you're talking about just in America, 300 million doses, okay? 300 million doses times 2, because you need 2 doses, 600 million. And I don't know what the time frame is between doses. Like, I just got the shingles shot because my mom had it, she has it. It's really vile. So I went and got the shingles shot. That's a 2-dose vaccine also. Now,
my wife just got that.
Yeah. It's. I mean, it's a horrible, skin rashy, burning, itchy thing that you can prevent now. So, I'm over 60. I went and I had it, but you have to have it in 2 doses, right? And they have to be no more than 6 months apart. So in order for them to be able to start and know, let's say there's a 6 month, apart thing, they have to know that they can do the second 300 million within 6 months. You know what I'm saying? It's not that easy.
You're only thinking of the U.S. You're not thinking of the world.
Right. I'm only thinking of the U.S. That's all I'm thinking of. And so.
Well, you can't think that way.
But I'm just saying, to keep the numbers small and manageable, use the population.
No, and the rest of the world just goes stuck there.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm trying to.
I know you're not saying that, but you're implying that.
I'm not implying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just keeping the numbers to a level that people can comprehend them, instead of talking about 1 billion people in India and 1 billion people in China. And okay, and 300 million in America, and 47 million or 25 million in South Korea, and then adding them all together and saying how many doses we would need makes the conversation hard to follow. That's all I'm saying.
It makes it impossible, is what it says.
Okay, it's not impossible, it's just difficult. Anyway, he lied. He lied all day today. You want to know deaths per million? He said, we've got the lowest fatality rate in the world. That's a lie. I wish it was true. It's not true. Okay, so we're kind of... Bolivia has 766 deaths per million. The United States has 735 deaths per million. And we're kind of in league with Bolivia, Mexico, the UK, Ecuador, and Moldova. Okay, enjoy the weekend. Seriously, rest up. You're going to need it. Maybe he'll concede. I doubt it. Congratulations to President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris.